In the far west of Kosovo, you'll find a town that's famous for beer, bazaars, monasteries, and fresh mountain air. And the name of that town is Peja. These days, the route across the mountains to present-day Montenegro is closed to traffic, but 500 years ago it was a vital trading route to far-off Dubrovnik on the Adriatic coast. Under the Ottomans, a small market grew into an enormous bazaar. It's estimated that at one time there were over 900 stores here, with almost every single trade that you could imagine. Most of those trades have, of course, long since gone. But the bazaar retains its importance for gold and silver. There are jewellers everywhere. In the Kosovo War of 1999, over 90% of buildings in Peja were destroyed. And sadly, the old bazaar was not spared. It was burnt down by Serbian forces. What you see now is the work of an incredible program of revitalization.
After the war, back in 1999, the bazaar was destroyed. Initiative from the civil society with the support of Peja municipality come together and designed a project on revitalization of bazaar and artisans. This project was supported by and funded by the European Union and participation of Peja municipality. Now today you will see the result of the project. All the objectives of this project were tangible.
Peja in Serbian is Peć, and Peć has held a spiritual significance for the Serbians for centuries. The reason is this complex, known as the Patriarchate of Pec. From the mid-14th century onwards, it was the seat of the Serbian Orthodox Patriarch. At first glance, it seems surprising that the Serbian kingdom would choose to both proclaim and bury its archbishops and patriarchs here in the far west of Kosovo, at the foot of the Accursed Mountains. But in medieval times, priorities were different, and in the 14th century, the priority was to be as far away as possible from the marauding Bulgarians in the east. This is in fact not one church, but several. Photography is not allowed inside, but I can assure you that the frescoes and the icons are astonishingly beautiful. It may no longer be within the political boundaries of the modern nation of Serbia, but that takes nothing away from the spiritual significance of this place, and it's in the very good hands of a community of Orthodox nuns. It's possibly the most peaceful location in Kosovo, and probably the most beautiful corner of Kosovo. Quite magical. It's very easy to get to the monastery complex from the centre of Peja. It's just a short half-an-hour walk along the riverside promenade. Peja's most famous son is Haji Zeka. In 1899, he founded the League of Peja, a movement that campaigned against the Ottoman Empire for greater autonomy and for education in the Albanian language. He was assassinated in 1902, but no doubt he would look on with pride to see the accomplishments of modern Peja. Around Peja, you will of course also find monuments and memorials to those who bravely fought but lost their lives in the Kosovo War. An absolute must visit in Peja is the museum, which you'll find in the town's most authentic Ottoman era building.
This is the Tahir Bey's Inn. The house was built in 18th century. It was built in other location here in Peja. But in 1960s it was removed here. The government wanted to build a post office. So in order not to destroy historical monuments, so they decided to move the house here. This museum presents traditional heritage of Peja region or Tugajeni region. Here in this region, almost each house have had this kind of loom. And it was a kind of family industry. The men usually sit in this kind of rooms, smoking cigarettes that they made themselves, singing songs. So we are talking about the 18th century and 19th. There is in this bow, there is a shape of the snake. So we are talking always about the motifs. Our ancient Illyrians, they also believed in snakes. There is a kind of suspicion that the snakes are the house guardians. We still do believe that.
If you have fast-flowing mountain streams passing through the town, then you also have the perfect conditions for a mill. The first mill in Peja was the Haji Zeka mill. The mill has been restored and fully reopened as a visitor centre, and part is also used as a base for the local community to work on projects from the revitalization of the old Bazaar to the revival of handicrafts, and also to develop hiking trails. What crafts specifically are you teaching here?
Traditional women clothes with a weaving loom, shoemaking, filigrane, and a hat maker, this traditional Albanian hat.
Are young people now becoming more interested in these traditional crafts?
Yes, the young people, the interest of young people to get involved in the crafts are growing. They see the potential, they see the economic benefit of them.
Peja has been a centre of art and culture for centuries, and that tradition continues in the 21st century because Peja has Kosovo's premier school of art, and its director, Buja, has kindly agreed to show me around.
This school is the oldest art school in Kosovo. Before, in ex-Yugoslavia was only two schools, one in Novi Sad and one here in Peja. In this school we have 5 directions. Start with fashion design, interior design, graphic design, painting and ceramic design. We have about 280 students in 3 years. Our student, he took the first place in world competition in United States, was the best. The name is Thoti. We can see how the students work for Fashion Week Kosovo in Pristina. We are the first who make the fashion with the recycled fashion, old things. We are the first one in Europe. I come back here after the war to give something new to our students, to build this school, to make something new. I love this school. It's part of me, this school.
We have around 10,000 tourists during the year. You can use the via ferrata, the zip line, the hiking, biking, and everything what you need for the mountains. Besides this, we also have the cultural heritage in our city, which we have 14 cultural trails that the people can visit. We have a lot of projects that we are working with the European Union and municipality, of course, to promote the tourism as much as we can. Then with our potential, and our target is to become a tourist destination, cultural and natural heritage.
You could spend weeks here and not see everything. But what I really take away from this visit is the spirit of the people. 20 years ago, there was almost nothing left of this town. So the transformation is astonishing. But when you meet the people involved and their love of this town and the region, then it's really no surprise at all. What does the town of Peja mean to you?
Peja is for me everything. When I come back after the war, now I live here, I work there, I give everything for our students, for our people here.
If this is what the people of Peja can achieve in 20 years, then in another 20 years, this town will be unrecognisable. That's all from me on this journey. See you next time.